What is up, everybody? Alex Macklin here, and I'm going to be bringing you another food review. Today, I'm going to be looking at these Colameco gluten-free turkey meatballs. I picked these up at Whole Foods, and I was really excited to find them because I haven't found a turkey meatball or just a meatball in general that's been good and also gluten-free. I mean, turkey and beef or sausage is naturally gluten-free, but to make a meatball, you oftentimes have to use things like breadcrumbs or some kind of flour to hold the meatball together, which can be made with wheat, which is a no-go for somebody with celiac disease that can't have any gluten. So I'm really looking forward to trying these meatballs out, and I hope they taste as good as I think they are going to taste. All right, y'all, before we get these bad boys cooking, I want to use this opportunity to educate you guys on food marketing. Now, I noticed some things about this packaging, and maybe you notice it too, because ultimately that's the goal of a company. They're going to try to get you to buy their food, and oftentimes they're going to use really key words or buzzwords that they think that people are looking out for in terms of what is healthy. Like, I mean, you see in big, bold, gluten-free, and then you also see the words here at the bottom: turkey used without antibiotics and fed a vegetarian diet. You also see things like no preservatives, and then minimally processed and no artificial ingredients. You see all the frees: gluten-free, soy-free, blah, blah, blah. So my point is to be aware of food marketing like this. Companies know that people see these words and associate the food with being healthy, even though it may not necessarily be that great of a food. It could be Pop-Tarts or cookies or anything like that. In this case, we're talking about turkey Italian-style meatballs. It's something like I would make at home. It's just frozen and already fully cooked. So I would consider this legit. However, something else, they may put all sorts of buzzwords on it, and it may not be that legit. So just be aware that companies and packaging and marketing are gonna try to trick you. Don't get tricked, y'all. And actually, I'll have some specific comments about the whole turkey or meats raised without antibiotics, because it's actually a pretty interesting topic. Lots of controversy, but it's one of those things, again, that you'll see on labels, but maybe you don't know what it actually means. Okay, of course we're gonna look at the label, the nutrition information. It says 3 meatballs, which is about 85 grams. That's 150 calories. The total fat is 7 grams. The total carbohydrates is 520 milligrams of sodium, and then 15 grams of protein. This is actually a pretty decent size of protein. I haven't opened the package yet, so I don't know what 3 meatballs looks like, but 85 grams is 3 ounces of meat. So for 3 ounces of meat and 15 grams of protein, that's pretty good. You get 2 servings of this, you get 30 grams of protein and only 14 grams of fat. I don't think you're gonna do much better with meatballs, considering some meatballs are made with, beef and sausage that are gonna have way, way, way higher fat. So these turkey meatballs, from a macro perspective, are really good in terms of getting lots of protein with minimal fat and carbs. Also, there are 0 artificial ingredients, so at least they're being honest and truthful about what they had on the package. All right, we're gonna do a little experimentation with the cooking methods, because I want to see actually what the best way to prepare these. Now, there are 2 methods listed on the package. There's the conventional way and there's the microwave. The conventional way is to just heat up some sauce and then add the meatballs until they're hot. All right, that's cool. I can't really get a good taste for the meatballs if they're drenched in sauce already, so I'm gonna try this way, but I'm also gonna do the microwave. I'm actually also gonna try the oven, and I'm gonna put it on 350 and just keep it low heat and then see how they do, and I'm gonna see how long it takes for them to get up to temperature. But I'm guessing that the oven might be better. They might be juicier and tender and not as dry if I put them in the microwave, but we'll see. Of course, you gotta have pasta with your meatballs, so I'm gonna be having some Banza penne. The beauty about this, other than the fact that it's gluten-free, is the fact that it has 25 grams of protein per serving and 13 grams of fiber. So this is amazing if you are on a plant-based diet or you're a vegetarian. They make black bean pasta, lentil pasta. Doing plant-based protein pastas is a really good way to get enough protein in. Now, while those meatballs are cooking, I want to talk about the role of antibiotics used in raising livestock, because you saw over the package, they were very clear that they raised these turkeys without antibiotics. So what's the big deal here? Back in the 1940s, 1950s, this was a little bit after they discovered penicillin, which is like the most famous antibiotic. Farmers found that if they gave penicillin or antibiotics in general to their livestock, that their livestock were healthier, they grew faster, they grew bigger, and they needed less food to grow. And they didn't really quite understand why that happened. They just knew that if we give them antibiotics, that this is what happened. And so the farmers were like, hell yeah, we can get a bigger animal, we don't have to feed it as much, we can make more money. So what they started doing is they started giving the animals sub-therapeutic doses of antibiotics. That means that they weren't high enough doses to kill any potential disease or fight off any infection, but they were high enough to make the animal gain weight and improve feed efficiency. And in 2013, there was a report that was put out that out of the 13 million kilograms of antibiotics used by the farming industry, the majority were used as sub-therapeutic doses in order to make the animal gain weight. So you're probably thinking, what the hell is the problem? I mean, the animal's going to get bigger, that's more meat, it's going to be cheaper. What is bad with that? Well, you see, bacteria are living organisms, and they have DNA just like you and I do. That DNA, like any DNA, has a chance to mutate when it replicates. And we all know bacteria multiply and replicate like a mother. And there's a chance upon mutation that these bacteria become resistant to the antibiotic. That's just a fancy way of saying that the antibiotic can't really kill them anymore. And basically, they become these like X-Men bacteria with like mutant superpowers. And because the X-Men bacteria are more resistant, they tend to survive, and then the bitch-ass bacteria that aren't resistant, they die off. So the X-Men bacteria can pass that mutation on to different generations, which leads to a resistant bacterial strain that can't be killed by antibiotics. The other problem is that these bacteria can get transferred to other species, like us. So if we eat meat from an animal that has resistant bacteria, there is a chance that we get infected with these bacteria that are now resistant to antibiotics, and that's a big problem. And actually, during my research, I did find that there were some instances where salmonella that was resistant to multiple drugs got passed on to humans. I mean, that's kind of scary, right? So the question becomes, should you be concerned about this antibiotics in livestock? Short answer, I'm going to say you should be aware and you should educate yourself about it, but I don't think you need to be terrified to go buy some meat. Please, I'm not trying to propagate fear up in here. I'm just saying that it's best if you educate yourself so that you can make an informed decision. I mean, I don't think that we're going to see some kind of crazy superbug that wipes us all out. And as far as getting sick from something that you ate, that's always going to be a risk. I don't know exactly if that risk is elevated with meats that were raised with antibiotics, but foodborne illnesses have been around forever. So my opinion is that, again, you should be a conscious consumer. And personally for me, I choose not to eat meats that I know were raised with antibiotics. I just feel better about it, and that's my personal choice. And that's how I think we should look at it rather than black and white. Is what do you feel most comfortable with after you understand and are educated on the matter. And to further help you educate yourself on the matter, I'll put a few links in the description of some helpful resources to understand what the different labels mean, what the different claims mean, like what's the difference between raised without antibiotics or no antibiotics or antibiotic-free, because there's differences. So I'll put some links in the description that you can read and educate yourself. All right, so the meatball has been in the oven for about 20 minutes. Let's check the temperature. 20 minutes at 350. Let's see what it does here. It's supposed to be 160. Looks like we're definitely gonna break that. Let's see how high it gets. Okay, so we're looking at around 180 degrees plus. Probably too long in the oven, 20 minutes at 350. So these might not be very good. We'll see how these taste anyways. All right, we got everything cooked. We got our meatballs cooked 3 ways. We got the oven baked over here, and then we got the microwave over here, and then we have the meatballs simmered in the sauce. And then, of course, my big-ass plate of meatballs and pasta and Parmesan cheese, because you know how we do it. All right, so I'm going to try each of these and let you know my thoughts. Let's try, actually, the oven-baked. Let's see, they're a little hard and dry on the outside, and I kind of suspected that, but let's see the inside and how that tastes. Well, the meatball is definitely good. I would say it's okay. It's not the greatest meatball. It's a little bland, and it had enough flavor from like the salt, but I think it could have used more seasoning. I also think I cooked it a little bit too long. We saw the temperature, it got up above 180 degrees. I think it just got too dry. I think the oven, we could have baked it for a little bit shorter time, maybe like 10 minutes. It would have been fine. I mean, the thing's fully cooked. It's not gonna kill you if you eat it and it's not totally heated up. It's just not gonna taste as good. All right, next let's taste the microwave version. Now these took 15 seconds per meatball, but they were kind of hot after one, but I did them for 2 minutes just to make sure. So let's check them out. All right, I just had one, and you can already tell just by squeezing it that these are a little softer and a little bit juicier than the oven baked. Now they're still a little dry, but these were a little bit better than the oven baked version. All right, I think now we saved the best for last, the one simmered in the sauce. Now I simmered this meatball in the sauce for about 20 minutes or so. Let's see how this tastes. I think this is gonna be the best. Oh yeah, by far the meatball simmered in the sauce was the best. And the sauce, didn't simmer long enough for the sauce to permeate inside the meatball. You ever had that meatball where it's like it just gets all inside the meatball, the sauce does? I think you gotta simmer it for like hours before that happens. I ain't got time for all that. But the sauce with the meatball, that's where it's at. So if you're gonna make these meatballs, I would definitely put the meatballs in the sauce, simmer them, and if you have time, simmer them for a long, long time, because then that sauce just gets on the inside and just makes it all just juicy and shit. If you're in a rush, the microwave would be my next best choice, but the oven, I would stay clear from the oven. Don't do that. You'll just get a dry meatball and it's just not gonna be good. All right, taste test done. Overall, I say these meatballs are pretty good. I mean, they're not the greatest meatballs in the world. I mean, the best meatballs I ever had was actually during a meatball eating contest where I had to eat like 5 pounds of meatballs, and I came in second place. I was real raw about it, but those were the best meatballs I ever had. Now, if you're Italian and you take these over to your Italian grandma's house for dinner, she might curse you out. But for everybody else, these are legit. Overall, I'm gonna give these meatballs an 8 out of 10. The seasoning, the taste was good. It was a little bit bland, but I mean, you can't expect much from a turkey meatball that's gluten-free from Whole Foods. It's just not gonna be like Italian restaurant, Italian grandma quality meatball. Now, the other thing I loved about it, all natural ingredients. There were no artificials in it, no preservatives. It was just real food. I paid about $8 for this bag, and I think there's 4.5 servings, so just a shy under $2 per serving. Let me check my math. Yeah, that's right, under $2 per serving. I definitely would buy these again. I mean, again, they tasted just fine, and they went really well. I would absolutely cook them in the sauce. Like, take the extra time to cook them in a sauce. Don't put them in the oven because you'll probably overcook them like I did. The microwave is okay if you're in a hurry, but you're not gonna get that like real meatball color, that texture, that flavor without the sauce. I mean, they just go together. So simmer them in the sauce, maybe simmer them for a long time and let the sauce seep into it and get all juicy. But yeah, do it in the sauce faux show. All right, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like, comment, and subscribe. And I appreciate you guys for watching. Peace.